Welcome everyone. This interview we have none other than Aaron Jannetti, co-owner of Endeavor Defense and Fitness. Maybe you're part of his cult following. Enjoy. All right, everyone.
Hi.
Yeah. Drew Dillon here, Columbus Weightlifting. We're with Aaron Jannetti, owner of Endeavor Defense and Fitness out of Hilliard, Ohio, and also the location for Columbus Weightlifting's home. So we are inside Endeavor Defense and Fitness. And as you've seen in some of these interview series, I wanted just to go around and get to know some of the key people around Columbus Weightlifting and things we're doing. So as you can tell, we're in a gigantic truck, and the Strongest Unicorn, second annual Strongest Unicorn, has just finished up, and now it's time to return equipment and do some running around. So off of that, to get things rolling, let's ask Aaron his first question: why CrossFit? Well, how'd you get into Endeavor Defense and Fitness? What happened here?
Actually, it's gonna sound almost very similar to John Lovins from Buckeye CrossFit's interview, but I actually joined Ohio Krav Maga in 2008. It was January 2008, and started doing Krav Maga with them. And during that same exact time, John had actually been going over to Rogue, and he would come back to OKM with different workouts. So there was a small group of us that would take some classes back there and do dumb stuff that John made us do. And eventually after that, the owner of OKM asked if I wanted to join over at Rogue, and I told him yeah. And so I was going to OKM for Krav, and I was going over to Rogue for CrossFit. And later on that year, I went and got my CFL1, just kind of fell in love with it, went head over heels. Managed OKM for, holy Lord, 2008 through the end of 2012. And then in February 2013, we opened up CrossFit Endeavor, and kind of been going there since. But we were actually one of the earlier affiliates in the entire area. I think before us was Rogue, and then we came right after that, and then I transferred from OKM over to Endeavor, so been going on strong since. Interesting.
One question for you is, you guys have been very successful, or you yourself have been very successful. You've been from OKM to now Endeavor. You're very knowledgeable in Krav Maga, other self-defense with handguns, weightlifting. I mean, you're knowledgeable in weightlifting. What's one thing that you feel separates yourself from other CrossFit coaches and owners, maybe in your mindset, the way you think, that you feel has led to that you might see some others don't?
You know, the biggest thing that sets any good coach apart really is just that constant kind of striving for knowledge. You know, it's really easy to fall into, you know, a lull as far as what you know and how much information you have. You have to continually go and seek different people. You got to learn from people that are better than you. You got to learn from people you don't necessarily agree with. I think one of the biggest things that I learned pretty early from Mark Slane was, you know, it's one thing to talk down on somebody the way they do something, but you should at least dive in and figure out why it is they do that, try to figure out maybe the pros and cons of what's going on. You know, if you go to an 8-hour seminar with somebody and you come away with only one good piece of information, you still technically got one good piece of information you didn't know before, and maybe you can explain better why you don't like that. So really it just comes down to trying to keep kind of an open end, or you know, open mind about training and methodologies and different people's kind of outputs. You know, if you start realizing you have all the answers, you're pretty much taking a step backwards. You never do. So keep learning.
Interesting. So you were a coach at OKM, but you weren't an owner. What have you learned now being one of the owners of Endeavor?
Oh, that the worst part about business is having to balance books. Money sucks.
Truth.
No, it's, you know, it's we had a great group over at OKM. You know, John Lovins was part of that same exact group. Terry Rosen, who owns OKM now, was doing a lot of the administrative stuff. I think starting in like end of 2009, 2010-ish kind of area. Before she actually bought the business, she did a lot of the administrative stuff. So at the time, we had a lot of different people taking care of a lot of different things, which was very helpful. When we first opened up, taking over the ownership side of it, I was essentially doing what I was doing before, which was teaching full-time facility, and then on top of it, having to do all the business stuff along with my business partner Rob. So we went from, you know, the business running off of, you know, 10 really good core people down to the business running off of pretty much Rob and I. So it's just really balancing your time. You can't be a part of everything. It's unfortunate, but it's very true. So you kind of have to put yourself where you need it best. And if there's somebody that can do, you know, a duty better than you, or at least as good as you need to be willing to delegate that task out and allow that to grow. You know, in the wonderful worlds of Ron Swanson, don't half-ass two things, always whole-ass one thing. So that was a lesson learned early on.
Interesting. So guys, let's do our next part of the interview. We're here at World of Beer, downtown Columbus, just having a cold beer as we drive around, dropping stuff off. Finishing up a day's work, really.
I mean, we're working.
Yeah.
This is work. This is lunch.
So going back to our questions, some people have asked, you know, where's the relationship between Endeavor, Columbus Weightlifting, how it came about? And at the time, speaking for Columbus Weightlifting, we actually had a few different offers, but going back from the time that I started helping with Columbus Weightlifting, we had a long running relationship with Aaron. And when we sat down and really kind of looked at the options, the relationship is what really solidified our decision. But I've never even asked Aaron, you know, on his side, why did he open up and make that offer? And I think it's a great time to say, why did you, you know, we sat down and had sushi. Why did you propose, hey, you know, here's an opportunity?
Well, okay, so originally, going way back, I first met Mark Canella, I believe at Rogue Fitness. He came in and was working with some of the athletes as he used to do. And I believe John mentioned that as well, but he did. He used to go into Rogue Fitness back in the day. And I believe that was still when Dan Bell was, at least in some form or fashion, kind of hanging out in Columbus and working with CWL. But officially had a chance to hang out with you. You were there as well, but Mark and Dan were running the USAW certification at Denison University in 2009 or 2010. I keep forgetting. But anyway, so we were out there with Mark Watts, and Mark was running it, Canella, and Dan Bell was out there. You were there. The infamous Bob Davis was also there. Mike Service was there. So a really good group of guys. Anyway, we met there. After that weekend, Mark and I actually kept up with emails a lot, and I hit him up and we started training at the Y. I would come down and see you guys at the Y, or I guess up, because it was YFCA North. And oh man, end of 2012, actually I'd say June-ish of 2012, I think Mark and I just were having a conversation about, you know, kind of what he wanted in a facility and, you know, where he saw Olympic weightlifting going with CrossFit. And just little by little, we talked about, well, would you guys want to move? And if you did move, what would you be looking for in a facility? And what would you need? And what would make things a little bit better? And that's really where the conversation started. And then, as you mentioned, over, I think it was 2 or 3 sushi sessions.
There was a lot of sushi.
Mark and I had one. But I think later on, you guys came in for the last 2. And we started to say, hey, this is what we can offer. You know, what's going to work for you? Where can we compromise? How do we, you know, help Columbus Weightlifting grow? Obviously, for us, the added value of having that type of knowledge in the gym on a daily basis is just absolutely incredible. So for us, it was more added value than anything. And I truly believe it allowed you guys to really do what you needed to do, because let's face it, there's a little more restrictions on a organization like YMCA. There's no restrictions in Endeavor.
None.
It's pretty much none. As long as you don't light the place on fire and get any sexual harassment claims, you can pretty much do what you want.
I mean, that dump truck that you guys saw is the landlord's.
It's the landlord's dump truck that we are driving around town in. That we might just pick some stuff up. I feel like we still have it. He doesn't get home for another 2 hours.
He has no idea.
He hasn't. Well, I mean, I think he thinks he knows we might have it, but I don't think he knows what we're doing with it.
I don't think he's concerned.
That's what it is. But no, I mean, it's been great. You know, CWL's been able to grow without any restriction, which allows people to come in a little more open hours than back at the Y was. And then for us, you know, having you guys jump in and do classes every now and again, and Chelsea's running weekly sessions, and you work with our instructors hand and foot, and we have some guys that have taken the CrossFit gateway drug and decided they'd rather just do Olympic weightlifting, and it's amazing. I can just go, okay, well, instead of being in this 7/8 of the room, go to this 1/8 of the room, right? We essentially deport them to Europe.
It's true.
And it gets done there. So it's a great relationship, or at least I believe so.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So since we've come to Columbus to Endeavor, since Columbus Weightlifting has come to Endeavor, some really new opportunities. Aaron has a great mind in the mobility world, and it's something that he's really invested in. And if you remember when we were in the truck, and he said, you know, a coach should always continue learning, mobility is one area that he really continued to learn. I would say he's one of the best mobility minds in Ohio. So from that, there is a fire truck.
There's literally a fire truck. Anyway.
Yeah.
Where were we? Mobility.
Mobility. So back to it. One of the best mobility minds in the state, and since then, there have been a lot of opportunities to bring and help mobility to weightlifting. So, you know, I see Aaron as one of my mobility mentors, and he's definitely helped me go through a lot of material, helped me learn it, given me opportunities to learn it. But then as we've applied this to weightlifting, not only has Columbus Weightlifting really benefited in our athletes, but all those that we teach have really benefited from this knowledge. Out of that, you've seen other things grow, and one noticeably the 60-day challenge. And from that was a straight a straight creation from the 90-day challenge, which was a bet between Aaron and Canella. Go ahead and tell them that story.
I believe it was August of, well, so we did it in 2013, so it would have been August of 2013. We did the state meetup in Sandusky, and well, no, it was a Coca. It was a Coca.
Yeah.
Coca CrossFit with Kate Rollins, and I was like 40 some kilos shy of being able to qualify for American Open. So I came back, and I believe we were training in the old Columbus weightlifting area. Little background, and Mark said something along the lines of, well, if you just shut up and listen to me, I could make you qualify for AO. And I said, aha, no you can't. And he said, I will add 42 kilos to your total in 3 months. And I said, okay. I said, I will do whatever you tell me to do for 90 days. We're going to put $200 on the line. If I qualify, you get $200. If I don't qualify, I get $200. And so we drew up a contract and a title thing of rules, and I did. Outside of previously arranged things like back at the range competition last year, and then obviously the memorial workout for my grandfather, I dropped all BJJ stuff. I dropped all fighting. I dropped all CrossFit. And did nothing but whatever the heck Mark told me to do for 90 days. And he actually added 23 kilos to my total, so I went from 200 to 223. More importantly, I always kind of come back on that. Yeah, it's impressive to see the 23 kilo jump, but more importantly, really high level of consistency in those 80 to 90% realms, right? So it wasn't one of those, well, yeah, I can snatch 215 pounds, but only if the sun rises in the freaking 9 o'clock here and I had the right shave, and it happens once every 2 weeks. You're able to hit those 85, 90s and higher percentages, just boom, boom, boom money every time you walk up to them. So it's a really good thing. And then from that, you came up with, hey, what if we did this for some other people? And we kind of modeled it around, helping the ADD a little bit, adding a little bit of fix of CrossFit, but really getting people to focus down on their lifts. And holy crap, I mean, the amount of gains we've seen over just 2 cycles of the 60-day challenge is crazy.
Yeah,
it's absolutely crazy.
Some big gains. I mean, really, if we wanted to, we could pull some up. I know I've seen some 20-pound jumps in certain lifts, 30-pound jumps in certain lifts from other athletes. It really depends. Everybody's different, but like Aaron experienced 23 kilos to his total in 60 days out of the 90 days.
Yeah, I was saying it was 60 days in, because then I got freaking food poisoning. I was down for 2 weeks, which kind of set me back a little.
Definitely, and it comes from consistency and just following the program. And what I got one thing from Aaron saying and one thing from you saying was that you listened to what Mark was saying. And why don't you tell him a little bit about what happened in warm-up yesterday at the Strongest Unicorn, in which I was warming Aaron up to get him ready for this battle.
And I did everything you told me to do. I just maybe happened to talk words in between times when you told me I wasn't supposed to be doing things. I didn't see the issue. I had a blast yesterday. I had a phenomenal. Hey, I PR'd my snatch. I hit a 100-kilogram snatch, not on the platform, so I guess technically it didn't matter, but in the back. And then I almost smoke checked to 129 clean before I jacked my wrist up. I mean, hey, I had a blast. I don't know what you're talking about.
He had a good time.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Let's just say, if he'd have listened, there would be a whole different story today.
That's a solid chance.
That's truly it.
I'll admit it.
And off that, one thing, if you've noticed, if you're on the Facebooks or the Instagrams or anything, you might have seen a little bit of Aaron's cult following. And I mean, it's really hard to pinpoint, but there's a lot of people out there that it's a cult following. And what do you feel it's attributed to?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I do not have a cult following. I have been blessed to meet hundreds and thousands of amazing people that I happen to keep good relationships and good exposure to. I don't think it's a cult following.
It might be cultish. So back to that last thing to kind of wrap it all up is what's next? I mean, what events are coming up? What's in your mind? What's going on? I mean, where are you taking it?
Well, for us, I mean, we started doing consulting for events. My partner Robert, which a lot of the same people that I know now. So him and we've been doing some amazing events. So we've been consulting for some other places. We have Clash of the Clans up in Dover this week. A little bit after that, we'll be getting the heck gear and right up into the Arnold and things like that. So that'll be going pretty quick as well. So we got a lot of big events. We're focusing on the event side. I'd like to get a little bit more back into the fight side. We teach a lot of seminars and trainings and things like that. So we're staying busy, but at the heart of it all, man, it's just Endeavor. We want to make sure that the members we've got at Endeavor that are coming in day to day, are getting in our classes are taken care of and taken care of very well. And a lot of people don't hear enough about our support staff. I mean, we've got all of our instructors. Joe Clementi, Heather Prevu, Nolan, who every now and again when he's not doing his real job comes in and helps out. You've got Brent, you've got Eric, all the guys that are on our fight side. I mean, we have an amazing staff of instructors. It's not just us. That continually when I'm listening to them coach, I'm going, oh crap, never thought about it that way. You learn teaching cues from other people. Heck, man, how far with Columbus Weightlifting, everything going on, I mean, it's really, we're turning 50-40 Nike Drive into a hub for knowledge, a hub for training. It's always what we wanted it to be. We don't claim to pump out the next CrossFit Games athlete necessarily or anything like that, but I can tell you right now, we're really striving to put out the best information, the best technique training, the best methodology. And I tell my startup people every time they come in, it really comes down to improving quality of life, right? And what that means for you and your goals and things like that. And at the end of the day, it's improving quality of life, and we're doing a great job with it. Amazing group of people come into it. It's definitely not just me. It's definitely not just Rob. It's definitely not just Drew Dillon. It's a huge group of people. So the more we build that community, it just spreads and goes. And like you guys going into other gyms and spreading the word of Olympic weightlifting, we're going into other gyms and spreading the word of mobility and self-defense, and hopefully that just keeps growing and going. I can expand my golf following.
That's true. So you've heard it right here, guys. If you're looking to expand your quality of life, make it better, you're looking for some great knowledge, and you're anywhere close to 50-40 Nike Drive in Hilliard, Ohio, just outside of Columbus, you stop by. Columbus Weightlifting's there, Endeavor's there, Krav Maga, BJJ,
yoga.
CrossFit, yoga, lots of different things that you can come in and try. And truly, I think we found out the answer to the cult following. If you want a cult following, how can you help more people? And that's it. Help people, you'll get your cult following too, right?
We should make a shirt.
It should be. And as always, these interviews are put together because we're trying to put out stuff that help athletes, that help coaches, that help those that aspire to reach their goals and what they want to do. And it just gives a little insight to some of the people behind the scenes making this happen, some of the names you might see out there.
Great group and a huge, amazing community in Columbus as well, man. I can't speak enough about a lot of the other gyms.
Yeah.
Everybody's real tight. Everybody handles it. Everybody comes out and supports. It's amazing.
Definitely. So hope you enjoy, guys. And like always, on to the next interview.
You guys later.
No shit. Look at that.
Yeah, no, this is great.
Let's see here. Oh, I don't know if you can see it.
So that's happening.
So the fire department might be coming in for a beer at the World of Beer.
We might get kicked out. We're the only ones here. We're going to see what happens.
There could be a fire.
Could be a fire. Anyway, continue.
So, continuing on.
Mobility.
Oh, they are coming in for a beer.
How you doing?
Ooh, obviously not well.
This is exciting.
This is kind of exciting.
Is this going to be on the blooper reel?
It might be.